Hey guys, it's Tiny Tom Logan back with another video for you, and today I'm going to be showing you something a little bit different. There are many people out there that can make you videos, read spec lists, write scripts, copy and paste stuff from online. Do you know what I mean? Read scripts, try not to look like they're reading scripts. Anyway, obviously I'm one of you proper enthusiasts, and I actually really like computers beyond, do you know what I mean? I've always got an opinion on stuff. I've always got thoughts about what they could have done with cases better. I've always got thoughts about how they could make products better. And yeah, fair enough, it does come from, I've got such a varied background. I've done so many things over the years. But anyway, you don't need to be worrying about that, because today I'm going to be showing you how you can put a 360mm radiator in the top of a Cooler Master Stormtrooper. And yes, I do mean a 60mm thick 360mm radiator, so we're going to go full length 60mm thick. Couple of things, you are going to need tools, and by tools I also mean that you're going to really need to know how to use them as well. I'm not going to go into the tiniest details about what you need to do, so you are going to need to have a bit of noggin about you. At the same time, the handle, we're going to have to completely remove the base for the handle, but we'll keep the handle, but it'll just become like an aesthetic thing to keep the kind of flow within the roof. But we'll be doing that. And also, because of how much room there is in the top half of the case, it does only mean that we can only really get a single bank of fans on, but they will all go in the top. So yeah, it's actually... I've been thinking and planning this for quite a while because of my Orca build, but didn't want to go, you know, jump too soon kind of thing. But what I'm going to do, we're going to show you how to do this, and then I'm going to be using this case for a little bit with some other reviews. I've got some stuff that I'm going to be doing in the not too distant future, so I thought, why not mod this case ready for those future reviews, and then show you guys all how to do it as well. But what I'm going to do is basically bring the camera in and start chatting you guys through it. Right then, I don't want to make this too long, because obviously I just want to get this done, and I'm trying to share it with you at the same time. So I've removed the side panels, I've both removed the side panels, and I've also loosened the roof off. It just clips underneath that you need to release, and then the roof pulls off. The buttons stay exactly where they were because there's a panel at the front. Now the panel is the reason why we're here, because what we need to do is we need to remove said panel just quickly so that we can whiz basically this front section off and out. Now there's two screws on either side, but then there's also these little earthing straps which we also need to remove, and then this front section will lift out. So I'm going to do that quickly, and rather than make you watch, I'm going to stop the camera. Right, all the screws are undone, 6 in total. Now right at the front you have the USB 3 cables, and then at the back it's the rest of the other cables, so you just have to make sure that you pull them through separately. Mine are more than likely going to have got tangled, but anyway, I'm just going to remove those quickly. Again, I'm going to stop the camera, what's wrong with me? So we've got all the back cables out, they're through. If you have a look, these are the 2 USB 3s. You can see that they're screws, but these are kind of wired in together. So what you need to do is undo one set of the screws so that you can push one side through. We literally shove that through quickly. And then we pull on the other side. It does go through. Right, so that is that done. Now, so we've done that. Next thing is the front bay for the SSD bay at the top. I have to admit, I'm really not a fan of this anyway, and we kind of need the space. So what we're going to do is we're going to buzz the rivets out of this. There's 2 screws at the front as well. We're going to take that out and remove it. We are going to have to cut the basically like the back section of the SSD bay off so we can screw it back in so that we can keep this flap That is unless you want to get in there with some hot glue and glue yours back in. But also what we're going to need to do is remove the plates or the rivets either side for the handle. We are going to be modding the handle and then refitting it, but we won't be able to use it as a handle anymore. But basically we need this off as well. So we've got a few rivets to do. So 2 at the front there and a couple of screws, and we've got 2 rivets on either side of this end of the handle, 2 rivets on either side of this end of the handle, but they need to be drilled from the inside, and then that'll all come off. So what I'm going to do is bust the drill out quickly. I'm going to be using a 3.5 or a 4mm drill bit, just so that anyone, you know, that's wondering, but you should have a good selection of drill bits anyway. So I'm just going to take the handle off quickly now. Right then, me lovelies, handle off, sorted. One thing I did notice when what I was doing is I've screwed a radiator in already. These are just thumb screws, just for me to kind of mock it in. I didn't have to take all of the SSD bay out. I've just removed the 4 screws and removed the PCB, and that's given me enough room. Now what I've done, just so that you understand, I've done a worst case scenario, so you can turn the rad around if you want, because at the moment I've got the barbs up this end. And the reason why I've gone with it up this end is just making sure that you can actually see. Yeah, right, I've got the barbs at this end, because if you have a look with most radiators, the barb end of the radiator is going to be thicker. These are the end tanks, and basically the barb side of the end tank is normally a bit bigger. So by making sure it can fit this way round, it means if we do want to turn it the other way round, there's no problem, it will actually fit better. So we're going for a worst case scenario option with this. Now, so we've got a radiator in. If you have a look, that's a 360 in there already. It's kind of, you know, ready to go. Now we have our, that's normally where the radiator should stop, because technically this case only fits a rad this big. But we've now got one, so we've got the extra fan up here now. Now what we can do is, I know that if you have a look ever so carefully down there, you can see that the end of the radiator is just there, and that's where that's where it starts to dip, where the fins are. So we know that the fan is going to need to go roughly up to that point. So what we're going to do is, from here I'm actually going to cut pretty much across here, and we're going to come round, take the edge of where the wires comes through normally, come out a little bit and go that way. Now one thing that you do need to remember is the wires for the front panel did used to go down this point. So what we are going to have to do in a bit is basically work out how we're going to put them through now, because you know, things are a lot tighter. But essentially what we're going to do for this moment, we will have to get the Dremel out, but I want to do this in stages for you. I'm going to take the edge of this section here and come out pretty much near where the barbs are, but we're going to draw a straight line straight up the side of the radiator that way, straight line straight up from the bit that way, cut that section out, and we're going to come, there's a section just off of here. I'm going to mark it out for you anyway, just roughly, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it with pencil. I've got no white markers to be able to show you, so I'll do it quickly in pencil, and we'll hopefully that the camera will pick it up. I normally use a permanent marker, and then when you get it in the light you can actually see the lines. But one way or another I'll show you where I'm going to be cutting. Right then peeps, it takes too much moving around to be able to show you the exact lines in the camera. You can just about see the lines up this end, but what I've done is I've done it so it's easier for me to show you how to do it and where you can take your lines. But essentially what I'm going to do, if you see these 2 cut points there, what I've done is I've taken a straight line point and gone straight across there. You can, if you want, draw lines from one side of the case to the other side of the case, because you're going to have cross points anyway. Same with down this end, just at the very end of that opening where the bolt hole goes, because these inside ones are the 120s. So where that is, you can take another straight point. You can go straight across as well if you like. Now I can do it easier from this side, so we'll do this side first. Then what you do is go from the outside of the 140mm hole, because that will then be outside of where the radiator is, because essentially what we're doing is we're cutting the point where the fan needs to sit inside. So we need to make sure that the fan's got enough room to sit down on the inside the radiator. The fans are going to be very tight underneath the top of the roof anyway. I've already measured this. The fans are more than likely going to be very tight underneath here. So what we need to do is just drop it down as much as we can do, so that hopefully the fan won't foul the bottom of where that handle point is. Otherwise we're going to have to end up getting some washers onto these radiators. But anyway, so we go straight across then, take your straight line, go straight up. It will be just outside of that hole, and I mean just outside, so when we cut we'll have to go a little bit further over. Same on this side, so the lines we will have, I'll do it from that side, is a straight line up there, a straight line up there, so it's on the outside of the 140mm hole. Use that as your straight line, outside, up. Then on the edge of the 120 holes, essentially we want to be going right on the very edge, straight across, and then that point there underneath the two little cutouts, or the two little rectangular holes, straight line across there. And then basically all of this material here, all around here, that's all going to be going, and that will expose the radiator underneath, obviously, when we refit it, and it will mean that we can see where the mounting point is for the third fan underneath. Now the radiator's in there, it fits. It's also above the motherboard because it's a 60mm thick. We are going to have to be running the fans outside, so we do have, you know, it is going to be tight, but this is the plan. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to do it with a Dremel. You could do it with a jigsaw if you wanted. You may get some straighter lines. The reason why I'm going to do it with a Dremel is just so that I can show you that just with a simple tool like that, which most modders are going to have, you can get this done fairly easily. One thing I will say is with the lines, make sure you cut inside the line. So you're cutting inside the point that you actually want to cut. Because what you do, if you cut inside, then you file out to the point that you want. If you're cutting outside the line, you've already gone into the material that you wanted to be saving. So you cut with where the waste material is, basically, and then you file and sand out to the normal point. So just to be clear, because even I confused myself then, when you cut inside the waste material, and then what we do is file out to the line that you actually want. You know, it doesn't need to be absolutely perfect, but if you want to get really anal and have super straight lines, then you can do. I'm just going to be busting this out as quickly as I can, so that I can then get on, start using the case. And it's not for a showpiece or anything like that, but if you want to use a jigsaw, what I would suggest is your blades are obviously going to be quite thick. So with your jigsaw, you've already got a nice big hole here. But it really depends whether you want to drill some bigger holes around, so you've got points to cut to. You've obviously got cut points here, so with the jigsaw you could cut across, then come around here, get onto your straight line and go up, and then you've only got to come back this way as well. Same with that, and go back, and then you've just got these 2 points, which again you can get your jigsaw, go in, cut to the line, go across, come back across, and then you're just going to need to get your file out to clean all those lines up. Hope you understood that. Anyway, time to get this radiator out. It's also time to shoot some dust particles or metal particles all over my balcony. Right then, so we've chopped the section out the case. I actually cut it a little bit further as well. It's not been finished yet, as in by finished I mean I've not sanded or filed or anything yet. The main reason for that is I wanted to make sure the radiator was in and that everything is going to be in place before I finish it off. You should always really do your finishing once you know everything's alright. So we can see that we've got the radiator in, that's okay. We can see that we can screw the fan in. Now I'm not going to do any kind of major kind of following the ceremonies with this. I'm just going to screw it in quickly, because all I want to do now is make sure with the roof, we've still got the handle to do, but now my worry, now at the sides I know that the fans will sit up a little bit, so I was hoping that once this was on and it was sat down a little bit further, this wouldn't hit the roof panel, but I don't know how we're going to go. It's pretty much perfect. As you can see in there now, you can see the fan, it is right up against the roof panel. Now this was something I did want to talk to you about as well, because this part of the fan, it is all going to come out, but because we've got around the outside area of the case, the air will still work its way out, so it is a little bit restricted. Well, a fair bit restricted, but it's one of those things that if you want to go in there and you want to do it custom, and you've not really got many options once you get here, you can run around the outside of this plastic section and take some more material out of the plastic section. But to be perfectly honest with you, I'm really not that fussed about it. That's going to do, it will be fine for what I want it for. You can go that step further if you want. Obviously I don't want to be here all day doing every last little thing, but I can steer you in the right direction and, you know, basically set you going forward. But what we need to do now is, I'm not even going to bother trying to do that on the camera. What we need to do now is get the handle done. So if I can just spy it, what we're going to do is with the handle, we're going to cut it off down here, and at the back section we're going to cut it off a little bit higher, and then essentially what I'm going to do is hot glue it up into place. So you won't see the hot glue or anything, you'll just see the fact that the handle is sat in there, but it will just be like an aesthetic thing. Then it won't be able to carry any weight or anything like that, so you will have to go careful with it. So I'm going to go and cut that off quickly. I'm pretty sure I've still got a hot glue gun somewhere. I hope so. Otherwise I'm going to have to go and get one. But that's essentially that part of the proceedings done. Like I said, if you are worried about the airflow, you can cut around the outside here, but it will make your job a lot harder with the handle. But we'll leave that for a second, and I'm going to crack on. Right then peeps, onto the handle. That's all that's now left of it. You can see that there's just a tiny little bit of each end, and really now all we need to do is just go from the inside of the case and then hot glue it up. It will sit a little bit high if you pull it right up. If you want to get it level, then what I'd suggest is maybe hot glue a thin piece of plastic underneath, or you can just put a strip of hot glue in first, wait for it to harden off, then put the handle in, and then hot glue over the top, and it should sit a lot more close to level. If you really spend your time, you can get it perfectly level. Obviously then it will make it's not going to carry the weight of a PC, but I can still pick the case up with the handle with it that way. But you're obviously picking it up on the plastic, which is putting all the stress on the clips. So I wouldn't be advising that, but like I said, it will make it a lot better, and it's all out the way. Obviously I have spoken about underneath. The air will still be able to get out the back. The actual air flow is going to be a little bit restricted. It's not going to be as free flowing as if the roof was off. If you're really worried about that, then you can cut the plastic and basically take where the plastic dips in away. The only reason why I've not done it is because that then basically it would be something that you would need to spend a lot of time on, and if you got it wrong you'd end up ruining the look of your case. So I've gone with it the easy way. You're still going to get the benefits of that bigger radiator anyway. And I've gone for it that way, just to, you know, so you're not going to get people out there that are going to end up with their cases looking gash. If you do want to do it, if you take your time, don't forget, always cut inside of where you actually want the line to be, so away from where the line you actually want it to be. Then file and sand to the place where you do want it. You could easily get round there and do it pretty easily. Get round and do it pretty easily. You could easily... you could do it if you wanted to spend some time on it, especially if you're used to using your tools. It wouldn't be too much of a problem for anyone that's got a little bit of experience. So I'm just trying to put the handle on the opposite way round this time to see if it sat any better. And it does actually. If you fit the handle the wrong way round, which is what I've done, you can actually get it really tight in there. And I think that actually looks a bit better. You can see there's a little groove this end, but I mean, I'm not even holding on to that now and it's stayed in there. So you could get away with not having it on at all, and you can it's still fairly lumpy that you can move it about. But there you go. So handle in there, 360 radiator in there. Now we just need to show you some of the negative points of having such a big rad in there. Okay then, so radiator is in there. It comes quite a way into the drive bays, and if you're going to have the barbs up this end, which obviously I'm saying is a worst case scenario, you completely lose the top drive bay with the radiator itself. It's gone. What we haven't got fitted yet are barbs. So to get barbs in there, you'd still have to use 90mm fittings, so that they put the hose back round the other way, but it would then mean that you would lose the ability to be able to run, because you can see there, you just would not be able to fit the an optical bay or a bay reservoir or whatever you wanted to use. It would just be immensely tight, so you'd end up having to run it that way. Now, something else. Obviously people ask about other radiators, and we'll cover this in another video, but technically you can see that that is a 240 sat on the floor. So the reason why I've shown you, which may sound kind of strange, is there's room there for another 120mm. I've just not got a 360mm rad to hand because it's in the roof of the case. But to show you, there's 120. You could get another radiator in there. Sorry, if I hold it, that's another 120mm fan. So you could get another radiator in there should you wish. It would probably come right up to about the stop point that we were talking about previously. You could get it in there. It would be tight. You would have to have your noggin about you, but again, you could fit another 360mm rad in the front if you wanted. Now, essentially, guys, I need to kind of get things tidied up, get things finished up, get the edges sanded, get the edges filed, basically get this little mod finished right off. But I didn't want to spend hours and hours and hours walking you through everything. I've shown you the basics of what you need to do to be able to put the radiator in there. I've also showed you essentially what you need to cut, where you're going to need to cut it, and given you some tips as well about increasing the airflow in the top if you're worried. So just keep all of those points in mind. It's now essentially down to you to take this as a video of inspiration, of me saying you can do this if you want to. The radiator is in there. You can also see that it pretty much lines up absolutely mil perfect with the top of where the motherboard's going to bolt. It will be immensely tight in there with some motherboards, so you are going to have to still go quite careful. But that is a 360mm radiator, 60mm thick, fitted in the top of a Stormtrooper. Now, you don't need to use one this thick. You can use a thinner one should you wish to make things a bit easier with your motherboard. But that's, do you know what I mean, the 360 is the bit that we were talking about. So I'm going to leave this here. Like I said, it was just meant to have been the basics. I now need to go off and get it finished off, and you don't really need to be watching me do that because you've seen the bits that you need to. But this is Tiny Tom Logan with another video for you. Out. Right then, peeps, so I showed you, excuse me, husky voice today. Right, so I showed you before the kind of easy way with the handle, which would have had slightly restricted airflow. And then basically the more I thought about it, the more I thought I should show you the other way as well. So I've gone ahead and cut all that big section out so that the fan is essentially completely exposed now. I can remove the handle. Now the plastic, I have sanded it. I've not done it perfectly. I spent about 20 minutes with some sandpaper and some files trying to get it curved off. I just whizzed round with a Dremel. I marked out roughly where I wanted to cut, and I just went in with a Dremel. Obviously I cut inside and then I've sanded back. Like I said, it's not completely perfect. If I was going to do this as like a showcase, I would spend some more time on it. But for the sake of using this in future videos and to show you guys what to do, it was pretty easy. Again, with the handle, it's meant to go on with the cutouts on this side, but if you turn it around the other way, it does pull in quite nicely. And if you were to hot glue the back of it, it would sit perfectly level. If you don't want to, the back just sits down a little bit, but you don't necessarily have to run that at all. But obviously now we've got extra airflow. The fan is quite exposed, so if you did want to go that extra step further, what you could do is fold in some hex mesh, roughly the same as what's on the back, around here to kind of cover it up a little bit more. But again, that's going, you know, kind of, you know, that extra step then. But essentially what we've done is by going this little extra bit, by taking more plastic out, we know we're going to have no restrictive airflow problems, so it's not going to have any impact on the cooling of the radiator whatsoever, and it does still keep with the aesthetics of the case. But like I said, if you wanted to go that step further, you could obviously put mesh underneath there if you wanted. There are lots of other kind of extra tweaks and that kind of thing that you could do, but essentially what we've managed to do is show you how you can fit a 360mm radiator in the top of a Trooper. No restrictive airflow problems, although with the handle there it wouldn't have made a massive difference on temperatures, couple of degrees maybe at, you know, worst case scenario. But there you go, that's the extra side of things done. Now I've got to get the case cleaned up because it's still, you know, all dusty from cutting. Put the case back together and then maybe think about using this in some future reviews, because I've kind of done it for a reason. But anyway, also what you guys, for the regulars out there, this is kind of a hint on where I'm going in my head with Orca, because I have used this as basically as a dry run for Orca. I wanted to see what I could do, how hard it was, how easy it was, that kind of things. So yeah, plenty more to come soon. But this is Tiny Tom Logan finishing off his Cooler Master, I'll get shot, CM Stormtrooper 360mm radiator mod guide for the roof. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, all that kind of stuff. Let me know what you think. Feedback always appreciated, good or bad. Time to go. Tiny Tom Logan out.